Hello, my dear beloved students of Southbound School and College. Welcome to my online video class. Hope you all are in well and good condition by the grace of Almighty. I am Muhammad Nazmul Hussain, your Bangladesh and Global Studies teacher. Today, I will present before you the first chapter of Bangladesh and Global Studies book of class 8. That's name is The Colonial Age and the Liberation War of Bangladesh. I will discuss before you the first lesson of this chapter today. That's name is the arrival of the Europeans in Bengal and the background of the colonial age. So first of all, dear students, you have to understand what is a colonial rule or colonialization. So the term colonial rules means when a foreign country occupies any other country and rules there, it does not in a sense it tells that it means that it is colonialization, because the occupying foreign countries does not come here permanently to occupy to the country and to rule over there permanently, because they know that after some period of time, when the local people will raise their voice and agitate against them, they will have to return their country. That's why the occupying foreign forces does not come permanently to rule over a occupied country. Just as long as they occupy or rule the country, they smuggle, they send the riches and wealth from this occupied country to their own countries. And after a certain period of time, when the local people are agitated and become rebellious, they went back to their country. This type of ruling system is called colonial rule or colonialization. So, as the British came in our country only for trade, but after some time, when they found that our native people were so much weak that they could rule us, so they started occupying this nation, our state, and for a long, almost 200 years, they occupied our country and ruled over us. So that period from the 1757 to 1947, long 190 years, or sometimes we say that almost 200 years, this period is called the colonial age. So before the British came here, some other European traders also came here, and along before them, some other foreign nations came to our country. In this course, first of all, the Aryans came to our Bengal before the Christian era. But as we know that the Aryans did not came here to rule the country, they came here to preach their religion. And after the Aryans, in 300 AD, the Mauryans came to our land to occupy our country, and the great Mauryan emperor named Ashoka came to India to occupy this state, and he occupied some part of northern Bengal, which was and his territory was named as Pundrobardhan Bhukti at that time. So, in 300 AD, Ashoka, the Mauryan emperor, came to this land to rule over us. After King Ashoka, a long dynasty of Gupta dynasty, a long reign of 400 years, almost 400 years, another dynasty ruled over us, that is named as the Gupta dynasty for 400 long years, and they ruled over some parts of North Bengal and Southeast Bengal of this Indian subcontinent. After the long 400 years of regime of the Gupta dynasty, another dynasty came, and this is known as the first independent Sultan of Bengal. The first independent Sultan of Bengal was named King Shashanko, and he was the first native or our country's ruler or independent ruler in this territory who was named as Shashanko. He ruled in the 7th century and he was the first Bengal independent king of this area. But King Shashanko did not rule for a long period. After his reign, a great anarchy of almost 100 years, there were no king in our land. And as you know, when there is no king in any territory, then the general people are tend to overthrow the rules and laws. They do not abide by the rules and laws of the state, and there was a great anarchy of long 100 years. These 100 years is termed in the history in the Sanskrit language as Matsya. So what do we mean by Matsya? In Sanskrit, Matsya means fish and Nya means justice. As you see in the aquatic territory or aquatic fields, that the smaller fishes are being eaten by the bigger fishes, and some other bigger fishes eat that medium sized fishes. So this is called Matsya. In other words, might is right. So যার যত শক্তি সে দুর্বলদের উপর অত্যাচার করত, যেহেতু এই সময় বাংলায় কোনো শাসক ছিল না, and this time in history is known as Matsya as per the Sanskrit language. After that, in the mid-8th century, another dynasty, long reigning dynasty of 400 years, the Pala dynasty, reigned over our country. That was called the Pala dynasty. As we know that there is a Buddhist center in our country, so that is called the Paharpur Bodh Vihar or Shampur Bodh Vihar, situated in our Naugao city of Rajshahi division. That Pala dynasty, it was built during this Pala dynasty. So after the long 400 years reign of Pala dynasty, another dynasty came from Karnataka of South India. Another foreign ruler came to this territory of our Bengal. That was named as the Sen dynasty. At the 11th century, end of the 11th century, they came from Karnataka of South India. And the Sen dynasty, defeating Lakshman Sen, the last king of Sen dynasty was named as Lakshman Sen. So, defeating Lakshman Sen, Turkish military general named as Ikhtiyar-ud-Din Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar Khilji, in short, Bakhtiyar Khilji, came to this land in 1204 AD, and he occupied some parts of Nadia in West Bengal and also North Bengal. But some parts of East Bengal was till under the regime of the Sen dynasty. Bakhtiyar Khilji could not occupy this Eastern Bengal from the Sen dynasty. So it was under the regime of the Sen dynasty still then. Bakhtiyar Khilji, when he died in 1206 AD, after the death of Bakhtiyar Khilji, the Turkish sultans from Turkey came to our country, and during this period they were expanding Muslim rules from 1206 to 1338, almost long 150 years of regime. This is known as the Sultani rule of the Turkish sultans. During that period, the Turkish sultans expanded their territory over the whole India, and they made 3 provinces in Bengal named as Iklim. The word Iklim comes from the Farsi or Persian language, which means province. So the Turkish sultans made 3 provinces in this territory, which were known as Iklims. And these 3 Iklims are named as per Iklim Lakhnauti in northern Bengal, Iklim Satgaon in western Bengal, and also Iklim Sonargaon in eastern Bengal. Though the Turkish sultans are foreign rulers, but they practiced a very good governance. system in our territory, and they did not never suppressed or oppressed our territories. So after the Muslim rulers, Fakhruddin Mubarak Shah, during this period, Fakhruddin Mubarak Shah, Sonargaon Iklim, the ruler of Sonargaon Iklim, declared himself as an independent ruler, and he rebelled against the sultans of Delhi, that is the Delhi sultans. He rebelled against them, and he declared himself independent, and he started to rule Iklim Sonargaon as an independent sultan. Thus he introduced a long 200 years of regime that was termed in the history of Bengal as the independent sultanate, or in Bangla it is called Shadhin Sultani Juk. This independent sultanate lasted for a long 200 years in Bengal, starting from 1338 to 1538. And these 200 years in our history is known as, termed as independent sultanate. So, defeating Fakhruddin Mubarak Shah, another ruler, a Mughal king, Mughal ruler Humayun, occupied Gauro, that was situated in North Bengal, that was priorly named as Iklim Lakhnauti. A great Mughal emperor Humayun occupied North Bengal, in other words Iklim Lakhnauti. But Humayun could not practice his regime for a long time because of an Afghan leader of Bihar. Primarily an Afghan ruler of Bihar named as Sher Khan Shur. He drove Humayun at first from North Bengal and then from whole India, or Indian subcontinent. So like this, the Mughal emperor Humayun was drove away by Sher Khan Shur from India. After that, Sher Khan Shur was defeated by the great Mughal emperor Akbar the Great. He was known as Akbar the Great in 1576, and Akbar the Mughal emperor Akbar occupied Western Bengal and North Bengal, and like this our Bengal was ruled by the Mughal emperors. But Western Bengal and North Bengal was occupied by Akbar, but the Eastern Bengal, that is presently named as Bangladesh, Akbar could not occupy this territory because that time there were 12 landlords occupying or ruling this part, this Eastern Bengal part, that is now Bangladesh, and they are termed as the Baro Bhuyas. That means the 12 powerful jamidars or landlords of this territory, the Baro Bhuyas, they are so powerful that they don't accept the rules of the Mughals, and they rebel against the Mughal empires, and there were a fierce battle between the Mughals and between the Baro Bhuyas, and the leader of the Baro Bhuyas, these 12 jamidars, leader was Isha Khan. He was a very powerful and a strong ruler of this territory. As a result, the commander of Akbar, Man Singh, was defeated to Isha Khan, and Baro Bhuyas did not give the power, the rule to the Mughal emperors. But in 1610 AD, one Subedar Islam Khan. In 1610 AD, Mughal Emperor Subedar Islam Khan, Mughal Emperor Jahangir's Subedar was Islam Khan. He was a very powerful commander. He defeated Isa Khan in 10 AD, and like this territory also went under the capture of the Mughal emperors. So from 1610 to 1757, almost another 150 years, this whole territory of Bengal, that is Eastern Bengal, Western Bengal and North Bengal as a whole, the Bengal was again under the capture or under the regime of the Mughals. But in 1757, when the last emperor of the Mughals, Nawab Siraj-ud-Dowla in this Bengal, he was defeated by the British East India Company army, and by this our Bengal as well as our whole India gradually went under the capture or went under the rule of the British government, and this as a result of this our country, our whole Indian subcontinent went under the regime or rule of the British colony. And that's why from 1757 to 1947 we went under the regime of British, which is known as the British Colonial Age. So I have presented this whole British period and colonial rule as a flow chart that so that you can understand it very easily and memorize the events, the years, the names of the rulers very easily. So thank you very much. See you in next class. Until then, keep safe, keep home and be safe. Thank you very much.